This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Postgame reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks return the favor to the Utah Jazz, to the OKC Thunder, and come away with a 129-119 win. And it was definitely a gutsy win, folks. It was a gutsy one. A good win by the Knicks tonight. Still a lot of, there's some lapses on defense, and they've got to find a way to clean that up. But it was definitely a good win tonight by the New York Knicks. Big game from Jalen Brunson. His best game as a New York Knick, at least scoring-wise. He didn't knock it down from the three-point line, but in the mid-range, man, Jalen Brunson was on fire, ladies and gentlemen. 34 points for Jalen Brunson. But a good game. Good win for the New York Knicks to, finish up this road trip with a winning record, right? They finished the road trip 3-2. They got some quality wins on the trip, and they even up their record at 9-9. So now they come back to New York, 9-9, in a road trip that was kind of scary to begin with. Right, we talked about it in the game preview in there. The game just before the road trip started, they played OKC. They scored 135, but they gave up 145. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you what, the Knicks scored almost 130 points again versus OKC. 129 points. But they answered the bell, I'm going to say, on this trip. They didn't answer all the questions, but they answered the bell. And showing that they have some pride, right? Because I think their pride was definitely being questioned. So they showed that they had some pride, that they had some heart, that they want to win, that they want to be together, and that they still are listening to Tom Thibodeau, because at the end of that OKC game, after they gave up 145 points and let OKC shoot 60-something% from the field and 52% from the three-point line, there was a lot of questions as to whether or not the players were still listening to Tom Thibodeau. And ladies and gentlemen, I think they are. And I still think they believe in Tom Thibodeau. It's just this team is an up-and-down team. That's who they are. This team is mediocre. They're a 500 basketball team. We'll see if they can find a way to put together a streak of games, a streak of wins, and try to get themselves to being, 3-4 games above 500. But right now, this is simply a 500 basketball team, and they're going to be up, they're going to be down, all the way around. Good contributions across the board tonight. The big three, that's what you want to call them. The big three came through. All right, let's take a look at the box score, and we'll talk about the big three. Jalen Brunson led the way with 34 points, and he is, if there were questions at the beginning of the season as to who was going to be the leader on this basketball team, there are none now. Right? The mid three. Okay. Hey, listen, they're the big three for this team. Maybe they're the mid three throughout the league, but they're the big three for this team right here, right now. I'll take it. What are we going to do? Not much we can do about it. But if there were any questions as to who is the leader of this basketball team coming into the season, it's being answered through play. It's being answered through their play, right? Jalen Brunson is the bona fide leader of this basketball team. There's no doubt in my mind. And I don't think there's any doubt in any of the players' minds that Jalen Brunson is the leader on this basketball team. 34 points and 9 assists for Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle, 25 points, 11 rebounds. He was 9 for 16 from the field. He was 2 for 6 from the three-point line. And ladies and gentlemen, R.J. Barrett, there's been an R.J. Barrett sighting. Yes, indeed. R.J. Barrett finally had a good basketball game. He went a long stretch without playing well. Tonight, R.J. Barrett was 10 for 16 from the field. He was 3 for 4 from the three-point line and 2 for 2 from the free throw line. He had 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. The Knicks needed R.J. Barrett to play efficiently, and he did. He had more spring tonight. He had a little bit more pop. Right, his legs looked a little stronger tonight. You know what I mean? He looked more alive. So hopefully this is the start of R.J. Barrett playing more efficient basketball. And he did it tonight without taking 18 attempts. He took 16 attempts tonight. That's what happens when you make shots. You know, so I'm very glad that R.J. Barrett was able to bounce back tonight. Now, you can go into the Knicks have a little bit of a break. They don't play again until Friday. So they can get back to New York, enjoy Thanksgiving with the family, and then get back to playing on Friday. And you can feel good. RJ can get back home and feel good that he had a good game. I think it's more important for RJ than anybody else right now on this team to feel good coming home. And he's going to feel good coming home. 37 minutes for RJ. 33 minutes for Julius Randle. 33 minutes for Quentin Grimes. We're going to talk about Grimes. 34 minutes for Jalen Brunson. 25 minutes for Emmanuel Quickley. 15 for Hartenstein. 14 for Miles McBride. 17 for Obi Toppin. 15 for Jericho Sims. 13 for Mitchell Robinson. A few things we're going to get into tonight. We're talking about RJ right now, but we're going to get into this three-headed center rotation Tom Thibodeau's been using. I want to know your thoughts on that. And I know I missed phone calls earlier today. Feel free to give me a call, 516-362-5212. I got you. Talk about Quentin Grimes, the way that's looking in his starting unit. Emmanuel Quickley, another good game against the OKC Thunder. He had 18 points tonight. Miles McBride taking the place of Derrick Rose. A few things to get to. Before we get to all of that, let's take a look at OKC and what they did. Look at their box score. They were led in scoring by, of course, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He had 30 points, ladies and gentlemen. Right? And the one move that he had, my goodness. It's not too many players in the league. I don't care. At this level, you'll see it at different levels all over the place. But he had a very good defender on him in Miles McBride. And he went hard to the right and pulled back on a dime. Bam. And pulled it up. And listen, I got to give it to Miles McBride on that move, though, ladies and gentlemen. I got to give it to him. Yes, SGA stopped on a dime. He had Miles McBride going hard in one direction, stopped on a dime and pulled it back, but Miles was able to recover. Got to give it to him. You know what I mean? That's a really, really good defender right there. He didn't stop SGA from making the shot, but I still feel like he made a pretty good recovery on a really, really good basketball move by SGA. That was a tough move. Pretty move. You know what I mean? But for OKC, as I said, SGA 30 points, 7 assists tonight. Josh Giddey, last game against the Knicks, had a triple-double, and he was pretty close tonight. 18 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists for Josh Giddey. 24 points for Lou Dort. The Knicks just do not have an answer for this guy. He's averaging 13.6 points for the season. In both games against the Knicks this season, he's scored 24 points. I'm glad we don't have to see him again. Because the Knicks, they don't have an answer. 24 points, 8 rebounds for Lou Dort. 9 for 14 from the field, 3 for 4 from the three-point line for 75%. And, I guess it's just the style of his play. He's compact, 6'5", but he's compact. I believe he's 6'5". Yeah, 6'4". Compact, strong upper body. Right? He's kind of explosive off the dribble. And then with him being explosive, he uses his body well, right, to bump his defender. You know what I mean? Strong dude, and the Knicks have trouble with him. Anytime Julius Randle is guarding Lou Dort on the perimeter, you can just about put it in the books that Lou Dort is going to the basket and is probably going to get fouled or convert the layup. Another good game for Lou Dort against the Knicks. 24 points, 8 rebounds. Jalen Williams had 13 points. They had a lot of guys scoring tonight. You know what I mean? But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So that was, good game, good win by the New York Knicks. You know what I mean? Good game by the New York Knicks. Say what you want. You heard Jalen Brunson at the end of the game talk about this team and meaning OKC, and say what you want about them. Yes, they're now, I think, 7-9 on the season or whatever they are, but they're scrappy and they fight, they battle. They have some young talent there. You know what I mean? And I think you heard Mike Breen say it in the last telecast versus this team. They are going to, one of these years, just go from worst to first. You know what I mean? Because they do have a lot of talent and they play hard. You know what I mean? And they seem to have a system and style of play. And I wouldn't be surprised if they challenge this year for a play-in spot. You know what I mean? And that would be very good for a young team like them to get into a play-in spot. After tonight's loss, they are 12th in the Western Conference. All right, they're 7-10, a half a game behind the Golden State Warriors, 2 games behind Minnesota. You know what I mean? I can see them challenging for a play-in spot. And then, anything can happen from there. As for the New York Knicks, they're currently 8th in the Eastern Conference at 9-9. They're a half game behind the Toronto Raptors. The Knicks have yet to play the Raptors this season. They're a game and a half behind the Hawks for the 6th seed. And the Washington Wizards, ladies and gentlemen, are 10-7 right now on the season. And they're in the 5th spot in the Eastern Conference. Indiana's in the 6th spot. Cleveland is in the 3rd spot at 11-6. Indiana is 10-6. And Milwaukee is 12-4 in the 2nd spot. The Boston Celtics are number 1 in the Eastern Conference at 13-4. As a matter of fact, they're number 1 in the entire league, right? And surprisingly, jumping back to the West Coast, the Utah Jazz are 12-6, back on top of the Western Conference. You're 18 games into the season. People always talk about this 20-game mark. And then you start to see what a team really is. Well, you're getting pretty close to these 20 games. We'll see if Utah remains at the top of the Western Conference. That would definitely be a shock to the NBA. But back to the Knicks and the Thunder. The New York Knicks, out-rebounded the OKC Thunder. And let me make sure I have the correct rebounding numbers, but they did out-rebound the OKC Thunder tonight, 48-38. And that was one of the keys to the game when me and Steph talked about it earlier today, that the Knicks would need to win that rebounding battle, right? Because they got out-rebounded pretty bad versus Phoenix last night, 60-39. That's pretty bad for a team that has, Julius Randle and Jericho Sims and Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson didn't play much, but still got out-rebounded pretty bad. Not tonight. The last game they played OKC, they got out-rebounded, but not tonight. Knicks win that battle 48-38. 21 assists for the Knicks. Not many assists, but you had individual players who had it going. All right, Jalen Brunson, of course, had it going. Julius Randle had it going for a little while. RJ Barrett definitely had it going tonight. So they played a little bit more one-on-one. Emmanuel Quickly had it going tonight. All right, so only 21 assists for the Knicks, 25 assists for OKC. 10 steals for the Knicks, 5 for OKC, 2 blocks for the Knicks. You hope for a little bit more than that with Mitchell Robinson back, but of course Mitchell Robinson only played 13 minutes tonight. All right, the Knicks, 13 turnovers, 14 for OKC. I mean, that's not a bad number of turnovers for the Knicks. You know what I mean? You're hoping that the Knicks can keep that turnover number under control, because when they turn the ball over, it normally does not result in anything good for the Knicks. All right, so they've been able to keep that under control for the last couple of games. The Knicks shot 52.6% from the field, 32.4% from three, and 80% from the free throw line. OKC, 48.9% from the field, 33.3% from the three-point line, and 78.1% from the free throw line. All right, far cry from what happened in game number 1 when OKC shot 62% or whatever from the field and 52% from the three-point line. But there was a point, though. There was a point in that first half where both teams were shooting a crazy high percentage. And maybe this is just a formula that's going to take place for the next few years anytime these two teams play. The Knicks, 72 points in the paint, ladies and gentlemen. 72 points in the paint, OKC 60. 18 second chance points for the Knicks, 13 for OKC, and 11 fast break points for the Knicks, only 8 for OKC. Yeah. So, wrapping up the trip, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks wrapped up this trip. What are my thoughts on wrapping up the trip? And then we'll dissect a few, some of the other things that we've seen on this trip. I thought the Knicks responded well to adversity. Right? The trip came at a rough time for this team on the back of a loss to the OKC Thunder, a bad loss to the OKC Thunder. They held that team meeting, team dinner, and it seemed to have worked. They came right out. They beat Utah. Then they beat the Denver Nuggets. Then they fell back into doing some, I'm going to say that even versus Utah and against the Denver Nuggets, you still see some bad habits there, but they covered them up a little bit better, right? The Utah Jazz, they took a high number of threes, but a lot of their threes came off the dribble, not through passing. The Denver Nuggets, obviously Jokic wasn't there, so it made a difference in the style of play that they took the court with. That made a big difference. Right? And then when you got to Golden State, there was almost nothing the Knicks were going to be able to do or could do versus Golden State. I, for one, thought the matchups were wrong. I wasn't a fan of the matchups, the way Tom Thibodeau had those guys matched up. They got smacked, right? And then you had guys suffer some injuries, and they take the court last night versus the Phoenix Suns. For the first half, it looked like they were rebounding from that Golden State Warriors game. They played well. Quentin Grimes got his first amount of extended minutes of the season, and he had to step right in and play Devin Booker. And he played him well for the first half, but in the second half, the Phoenix Suns just picked apart the Knicks defense. That Knicks defense is, that's one of the main reasons why the Knicks are having an up and down season is the defense. And you've seen it throughout the West Coast trip, the defense. They played good defense in Utah, played good defense in Denver. Although there were still some holes. You still seen some alley-oops. You still seen some backdoor dunks, some cuts to the basket. You still seen some open three-point shooters. But they played better. The hustle was there. The heart was there. In Golden State and in Phoenix, I would say the heart was there. The hustle was there. The defense wasn't. The defense wasn't. And it got picked apart. Picked apart by both teams. And then the Knicks rebounded tonight versus OKC. And pulled out a good win that you just seen. All in all, ends up being a good road trip. And we'll see if the Knicks can build and capitalize on this road trip. Right? Can they build and capitalize on this road trip? We'll see. They got a little chance to rest, but we will see. Now let's talk about a few other storylines. All right, before we do get to that, I just want to let you know, give me a call, 516-362-5212. All right, I want to hear your thoughts about tonight's win over OKC. Also, tomorrow, the Westchester Knicks, it's their home opener, ladies and gentlemen. And if you would like to attend that game, there's a link pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. I'm also going to put it in the chat again, all right, where you can enter your name into a contest to win 2 tickets to the Westchester Knicks home opener. All right, all you got to do is put your information in, and we'll randomly choose 2 winners. One winner with 2 tickets, and I'll reach out to you to let you know that you won it. Then we'll transfer the tickets over to you. So make sure you put your name in there. The Knicks, the Westchester Knicks are playing in Bridgeport, Connecticut. All right, you can catch, I believe you can catch Metro North to get out there. You know what I mean? So make sure you put your information in if you're interested. There's also a link in the description of this particular video. All right. Let's talk about some of the other storylines right now going on with the New York Knicks. Quentin Grimes. Let's talk about Quentin Grimes. I think, to come from off the bench and not playing at all, to play, what did he play? 31 minutes tonight. Right? And he had to defend his assignment. His primary assignment was he played 33 minutes tonight. His primary assignment was SGA, of course. Right? And then last night he had to play Devin Booker. So for him to come off the bench, not playing for a little while and have to defend these 2 guys, I think he did a pretty good job. He had 8 points tonight, 5 rebounds. Right? He's not hitting a 3. And I think that's okay right now. It's okay. He will begin to hit 3. He's just now playing minutes, serious minutes. He is just now playing impactful minutes. right? So we can't expect everything to be going smooth. But, in both games, he took 10 shots, right? So I would expect that's what he'll take, about 10 shots per game. And, maybe he'll get a few more as the games continue and they get more comfortable with Quentin Grimes. If he remains in that starting lineup, maybe you see him start to get a few more shot attempts. He'll take it off the dribble a little bit more because I think he's shown the ability to do that these 2 games. I'm going to tell you what I do like that I've been seeing from him. He's nonstop movement, nonstop energy when he's out there. And it is something. It is something that the Knicks miss in that unit. Right? It's just the nonstop movement and energy. When he makes a decision, he makes it quick. Cam Reddish, I love what Cam Reddish was doing. And we'll see what happens when Cam Reddish is back and whether or not he reclaims his starting position. But Cam Reddish doesn't play with that nonstop energy, right? That's not his style. And I'm not saying anything negative about him for that. I'm just saying that's not his style. And I think for this particular basketball team, you might need a guy like Cam Reddish Quentin Grimes in that lineup. Now that I'm seeing him, right, and seeing him do it, you might need a guy like him in that lineup because he just offers that type of energy. You know what I mean? And it's good to see. He's not afraid to defend any matchup. And hopefully his 3 will start to fall. Right? So, I like what I'm seeing from Quentin Grimes and his energy level. The Knicks need to continue to bring that energy level. What happens? Quentin Grimes needs to continue to bring that energy level because I think it does affect the rest of the team. What happens when Cam comes back? Who knows? But I'll say this. Cam, the rotation will open back up to 10. Well, it's at 10 now because with Mitchell Robinson coming back, Jericho Sims and Isaiah Hartenstein have been getting playing time. We'll talk about that in a minute too. Because eventually one of those guys are going to fall out of that lineup. I do not believe Tom Thibodeau is going to continue to play 3 centers. But when one of those guys do fall out, either Cam or Grimes is going to be in that 10-man rotation. Evan Fournier's done. Either Cam or Grimes will be in that 10-man rotation. Right? One of them starting, one of them coming off the bench. I do believe we'll see some rotations where Cam and Quentin Grimes are together on the floor. And we'll see what that defense looks like. You know what I mean? But let me get to a phone call, ladies and gentlemen, because I want to hear what you feel about the game, and I want to hear what you think about Quentin Grimes. All right? Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
It's Spree. I love Quentin Grimes.
Talk to him, Spree. What's going on with you, man?
I thought he made Shea work. Shea, he still got his 30, but he made him work.
Yeah, no, definitely, without a doubt. He made him work, To
me, this was not just another game. Randle said after last game, this is just another game. I'm sorry. It's not. What happened in the Garden, you got to come out and play the way they played tonight. I thought they played hard. But you were just talking about the Cam Grimes thing, and I agree with you. I kind of want to see what Cam and Grimes look like.
Right.
Either way, Cam still has to be in the rotation. That's not fair to Cam. He's got to still be in the whatever. If it's 9, 10, whatever, he deserves to be in the rotation.
I think he will. I don't think there's any way. He's he elevated himself to be one of the best defenders out there in that starting lineup, and he'll probably be one of the best defenders if he comes back and he comes off the bench. He'll be one of the best defenders coming off the bench. I was still not sure how Tom Thibodeau was going to move as far as Grimes and Cam Reddish. I'm sure he's looking at it and saying, okay, what do I do now? The thing is, if Cam doesn't get hurt 2 games ago, we may not even have seen Grimes. Because Tom Thibodeau was going with a 9-man rotation. You may not have seen him. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Now
it's crazy.
He's gotten this opportunity, and you look at it and you're like, the Knicks are better with him. Without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, I thought Quentin Grimes. I mean, I know what Quentin Grimes is. I mean, you know what he is.
Right.
He's a guy. He didn't even make his threes tonight, but he's going to make threes. He, like you say, he's a quick player. He processes things quickly. He can get at, and with a guy like a Randle, with a guy like a Brunson, he doesn't need the ball. Just give it to him, rocket fire. Even though he missed 3, Sim, he catches it and he immediately lets it go. Regardless, there's no hesitation.
None.
There's no thinking. So I like him. Continue to play him. One thing, you mentioned the 3-man rotation at center.
Yeah.
Sim, I kind of like the 3-man rotation.
I mean,
what are your thoughts?
My only thing is, I don't know. I guess I just need to see more. I need to see more because when Mitchell Robinson gets fully, back in shape, it's hard for me to see that Mitchell Robinson's only going to get 13 minutes a game. Right? He's going to be up towards 25 to 28. And then where does that leave Jericho Sims or Hartenstein? I think it's probably going to be Jericho Sims who's on the outside looking in, based on Hartenstein's length of time in the league, contract, et cetera, et cetera. But once Mitch starts to get those 25 to 28 minutes, where do you fit Jericho Sims in or Hartenstein? Either one. How do you fit in 3 centers at that point?
It's definitely a question. I don't know. I think Mitch is still working his way back, so obviously I think we're going to continue to do it. The thing with Mitch is, like, if you want to keep Mitch healthy, because he does pick up a lot of fouls at times. I know he's gotten a little bit better, but he bites and he picks up fouls quickly. I don't think it's the end of the world to find a way. I know it's tough. It's tough because you can only play. I get the minutes thing. I just like Sims. I don't know. I like him. So it's tough because he sets good screens. He can get lobs. He can do some things. And Mitch, we'll see with Mitch. I don't know. I'm a little bit frustrated with the health thing, but I think they're doing the right thing right now, though, Sims, because eventually, I agree with you, they're going to have to make a decision there. But as Mitch works his way back, split the minutes 3 ways.
Yeah,
what did you think of Quickly?
It looks like that's what they're going to do, though, right? Split those minutes 3 ways until Mitchell Robinson really works his way back. Now, as far as Quickly,
yeah,
he's been playing well. He's been playing well over the past few games, playing under better control. Every once in a while, Quickly is going to take. He's going to do it. He's going to take a shot that you don't like. That's Quickly. It's just in his system. He can't help it. You know what I mean? That's who he is. He's going to take at least one or two every game. But I feel like he's playing under better control. His shot selection is getting better. You know what I mean? And, maybe he's getting more comfortable with the shot selection that they're asking him to take. And so once you get comfortable with it, now it's easier for you to, you don't have to think about it anymore. You're just taking shots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think Quickly also plays better with, like, quicker processing players that he's like. I like the Deuce Grimes. Quickly, I was shocked. He passed up a 3 and gave it to Grimes, and Grimes got that. I thought Quickly was going to pull up and shoot that. He gave it to Grimes, and Grimes did that beautiful scoop layup in the first half. I don't know. I like the fact that when we have Grimes out there, McBride, their buddies, Quickly, if you just calm Quickly down, you're right. He's going to take 2 or 3 that drive you nuts, but that's who he is. and you can't take that away from him totally. But when Quickly is 70 to 80% control of what he's doing, and no turnovers tonight, he can be good. He can be a good player. So I don't know, because he plays defense. But when Quickly's out of control, that's when he drives you nuts. But when he's somewhat in control, for the most part, he can give you an 18 points like he did tonight.
Right, exactly.
So,
He can, and I think he's figuring it out. You know what I mean? Just like I said, where to get his shots, when to pass, when to shoot, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? And how to get his shots with less dribbles. You're going to see, like in Phoenix last night, there were times when he, over dribbled, but I think he's working to figure out, how do I get my shots with less dribbles?
I think he's listening to you, Sim, on your show, because you talked about the over. I mean, when he does not over dribble, I get very excited. When he over dribbles, and drives the ball out of the air, I'm okay with him doing it once or twice a game because that's who he is. That's how he. But he can't do it the whole game. But when he's under control, Sim, and he listens to you, he can be a very good player for the Knicks. So it's a good night, Sim. To me, this was a good road trip. We talked before this road trip about how scared I was, but they calmed it down. Now we can just relax. It was a good trip. This team found a way to win 3 games. Everyone can just relax, and let's see what we got.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's a great way to go into a break when you have a couple of days off. You know what I mean? To come away with a win the way that they did tonight. You go into a break where you have a couple of days off. You can feel good about yourself. You can feel good about the team. You know what I mean? And then, you get back at it against the Portland Trail Blazers on Friday.
I'm with you, man. And McBride, I think, how long is Rose out? What's the deal with Rose?
I don't know. I'm not sure how long. I think it was a toe or something like that. Not sure how long he's out.
Yeah, I mean, McBride didn't make shots, but I don't really care because he plays defense. So I'm cool with it. I'm cool with McBride playing. He gave me a couple steals. I mean, McBride did have some good looks. I thought he forced one, but he had some open shots that he can make. But I think Tibbs has to play him because his ball pressure is good. Like Grimes' ball pressure is good, and we need defense. That's all we need on this team. We can score the ball. We need defense. So McBride is good with me tonight. But you have a good night, Sim. I'll talk to you Friday.
I appreciate you, man.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too. Right, you too. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks with a good win. I want to revisit the center conversation. You know what I mean? About those guys, who are we talking about? Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Jericho Sims. Jericho Sims and Mitchell Robinson bring a lot of the same thing, but still bring some things a little bit different, right? Obviously, Mitchell Robinson is a threat to block your shot at any time someone goes to the basket, so it allows guards to defend up a little bit more, a little bit tighter, right? But then Jericho Sims, he's a better screener. He's a little bit more physical. I think he's a better rebounder than Mitchell Robinson. He's more aggressive grabbing rebounds in traffic. Maybe he's a better on-ball defender when defending out in space. But Mitchell Robinson obviously is able to use his length to defend out in space as well, right? Each one of those guys brings something to the table. And then you got Isaiah Hartenstein, who is probably the best offensive player of the 3, although, he hasn't been knocking down that 3-point shot, right? But if you're talking about a guy that can get his own shot or, post up and score out of the post or hit that little floater, it's going to be Hartenstein, right? Hartenstein tonight only had 2 points. He did have 8 rebounds. And he's probably the best rebounder of the 3. Right? Jericho Sims had 7 rebounds tonight, though. Mitchell Robinson, on the other hand, only played 13 minutes. He played the less of the 3. As far as minutes are concerned, Jericho Sims played 15 minutes. Hartenstein played 15 minutes and 48 seconds. And then Mitchell Robinson played 13. So they all bring something a little bit different, although Jericho Sims and Mitch are very similar in their style of play. it's hard for me to see that. I think I seen someone in the chat say it just a little bit earlier. Tom Thibodeau is maybe, having a little tryout at the center spot. And that may be true. Maybe they are having a tryout at the center spot right now. You know what I mean? I still think it's going to end up being Hartenstein that's out there, Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein. But if one of those guys is not having a good night, Tom Thibodeau will be quick to use Jericho Sims because I believe that he's trusting Jericho Sims. I think he likes what he's seeing from Jericho Sims. He likes the activity. He likes the body. He likes the way that he can bang around down there. You know what I mean? And if Jericho Sims can find a way to knock down a little bit of a floater, you know what I mean? Or maybe the guys start to trust him a little bit, or one or two shots in the post, you could see something begin to change. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens between those three guys now. It's interesting that it's developing this way, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if Jericho Sims begins to creep up on Isaiah Hartenstein and become that number 2 backup center. But Sims is looking very good out there, and his confidence is growing by the minute. You know what I mean? Cody said Sims hasn't been bad from the free throw line either. True, he has not been bad from the free throw line. He's been able to knock down free throws when he gets there. But listen, Tom Thibodeau likes to have 10 players, right? And at the moment, Cam Reddish, Derrick Rose, neither one of those guys are playing. We'll see what happens when we get back from, when the Knicks get back from break, but neither one of those guys are playing. So if you played all 3 of those centers, you're still in that 10-man rotation. But as soon as those 2 guys come back, right, I would expect that 10-man rotation to change. Cam Reddish gets back in the rotation. Derrick Rose probably gets back into the rotation. But Miles McBride, ladies and gentlemen, is earning some minutes with the way that he's playing defense. I don't think that Tom Thibodeau is going to immediately use Miles McBride over Derrick Rose. But the more that he plays, the more Tom Thibodeau has confidence in Miles McBride. And that's what you want from your coach, right? To just have confidence that he can put you out there on the floor and that you'll produce. You know what I mean? Just have confidence that he can go out there and produce, because he is. He's doing it on the defensive side of the ball. He's not going to go to the basket. He's not going to put pressure on the rim like Derrick Rose. You know what I mean? He's not going to be able to, knock down a 3 off the bounce like Derrick Rose is doing now, or, have these different type of floaters in the lane like Derrick Rose. But he's going to bring that defensive mindset, which is going to allow Emmanuel Quickley, because now when you're out there on the floor, Miles McBride can defend the best guard that's on the floor instead of Emmanuel Quickley. And maybe Quickley can have a little bit more energy to get loose on the offensive side. So it can still work in that manner when Miles McBride is out there on the floor. You know what I mean? So that's just another thing to look at as we're moving forward. Let me read a super chat here. Irvin Vasquez, said your name correctly, I believe, said, did you catch Randle's body language at the end? I think he's a hater. Want him out. The negative vibes are crazy. I didn't catch anything about Julius Randle's body language. You know what I mean? I can't see why Julius Randle would, if he had bad body language, maybe it's as something, with the opposing team, or foul call that he didn't like or whatever. I don't think it had anything to do with the team. He had 25 points and 11 rebounds tonight. He had a good basketball game. You know what I mean? I know what we're getting at. He's mad that Jalen Brunson did such and such and such and such. I disagree. I don't believe it. I disagree with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's mad that Jalen Brunson scored 34 points or that Jalen Brunson was the guy to get the shots. You know what I'm saying? He had opportunities to be able to, go to the basket or say, watch out, I got it. You know what I mean? And he didn't. I think, I don't know. I think I think right now it's just an overplayed narrative. I think it's an overplayed narrative when it comes to Julius Randle, man. He's had his times where he's made buckets down the stretch, got big rebounds. He's had his times where he didn't play well down the stretch. All of them have. Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett. They've had their times where they played well down the stretch, and they've had their times where they didn't play well down the stretch. Obviously, Jalen Brunson has been playing well down the stretch more than both of those guys, right? Because RJ Barrett is just now having a good game. You know what I mean? But I get it. For as long as Julius Randle is here, it's going to be the narrative, right? There's going to be something every game. I really don't know what to say about it or do about it. I don't take it the same way. I don't take every time somebody looks upset that they're mad at the team or that it's, bad body language towards something that's going on with the team. There's a lot of things happening out there on the basketball court. You know what I mean? That's just the way that I take it. That's just the way that I see it. Greg said, I work for the Knicks. I don't. I don't work for the Knicks. You know what I mean? I don't know where you get that narrative. Greg likes to make up narratives anyway. You know what I mean? Greg is the number one narrative maker in the chat. If you need someone, the New York Post should hire Greg because he'll come up with every single kind of narrative. No matter if the Knicks win or lose, he'll come up with a negative narrative. Right? That's negative narrative Greg. He'll come up with one. Where was I? Who were we talking about? We were talking about the center spot. We spoke about Quentin Grimes, Miles McBride. I am hopeful, and I'm glad we had this break. I just, I got a little bit scared when dude fell on Jalen Brunson's leg. I was like, no, this is the last guy that we need to go out with an injury. The last guy that the Knicks need to go out with an injury. He was able to finish the basketball game. I'm sure whatever it was will be a little bit sore. Hopefully, it's not something that's going to last for any length of time. Right? He's got 4 days to rest, though. They're going to get back to New York. He's got a couple of days to rest until they play the Portland Trail Blazers on Friday. You know what I mean? My man, Kevin Bergen, says, some of y'all got to just let it go. Randle seems like he wants to be here, and he's here. That's what I'm saying, man. We got to let it rock. Right? Big Commodity said, haters going to hate on Randle no matter what. We just got to let it rock, man. You know what I mean? Irvin, thank you for the super chat once again. I appreciate you. He said his defense was awful at the end. My point is we don't need that in a young squad, His defense was, listen, he didn't play great defense for a good portion of the night. I'll say that. You know what I mean? I don't want to say a good portion of the night. He had some defensive mishaps. You know what I mean? He's not the only person to have defensive mishaps, but he had defensive mishaps. There's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? But if you think, I'm going to say this, though. We're talking about we don't need the young guys, this, that, and the third. I don't think the young guys are going to look and say, oh, Randle had a defensive mishap. Now I'm going to have a defensive mishap. And I know what you're saying, right? They look at Randle as an example. And, if they feel like he's not playing hard, they won't play hard. These guys got to learn. Quentin Grimes is going to play hard no matter what. He can look at Brunson. He can look at Randle. These guys got to go out there and do it on their own merit. That's one thing. Two, if you think that Obi Toppin is going to come in and play that power forward spot and the defense is going to get better, And I think you're probably mistaken because I don't think it will be. See, we haven't had a chance to see Obi Toppin night in and night out 30 to 34 minutes a game. And I'm telling you right now, just from what I see and what I believe, and I've seen his defense get better, but I still do believe that if he's playing 30 to 34 minutes a night at that power forward spot, it's going to be, I don't know. I think it's going to be worse than what you see from Julius Randle, in my opinion. That's what I think. It might look, the offense might look a little better to some people because, the way that he passes the ball off or doesn't really look for his shot. He doesn't look for a shot because he can't look for a shot, in my opinion, right? He's not taking anybody off the dribble or breaking down the defense. And I'm not trying to go at Obi Toppin right now. I'm just saying that's the type of player that he is. At this point in time, though, this is who we have. This is what's on the basketball team. You know what I mean? One day it's going to change. And it will. The grass ain't always greener on the other side. Let me say that. And we've seen that in the past couple of years with some guys who have left or not come back or wasn't asked to come back. And then, we're suffering in certain categories. I'm not even going to bring up who or what or why because I don't want to mention these guys' names. You guys already know. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Randle's had some good games. He's had some bad games. I think he's played well this season so far, overall. You know what I mean? I think he's played well overall. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. That's just where I'm at with it when it comes to Julius Randle. And to be honest with you, Julius Randle always looks that way when he's playing. Even when he's having a good basketball game, just pay attention to him. He always has an ugly look on his face. You know what I'm saying? He could have 50 points and he'll complain to the referee that he didn't get this or didn't get that. You know what I mean? My biggest problem with Julius Randle is the mental mistakes that he makes. That's my biggest issue. The mental mistakes, get on my nerves. He comes into the game at center and boom, somebody, bam, catches him off guard because he's not here. He's not here seeing everything, right? Kind of tunnel vision on, okay, this guy right here, and then boom, they cut right past him, layup. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes when it's a little bit too emotional, when your emotions run high, your brain function runs low. And Randle is always at an emotional high. You know what I mean? And that's something I teach my players too. When your emotions are high, your brain function is low. And it's the truth. Randle's always at an emotional high, and so he makes mistakes. This is who we have on the team. You know what I mean? He doesn't always make mistakes, but he makes mistakes. You know what I mean? And they're normally mental mistakes. He's not a perfect basketball player. This is the reason why you need to have a guy that's better than him. Like 2 notches, 3 notches better than him if you want to go to another level, right? That's the reason why the Knicks were so interested in a guy like Donovan Mitchell, and they're still going to be interested in bringing in one of those guys at some point in time. Right now, you got to continue to try to build this group and have this group play as well as possible so that when a guy does come available or whoever is ready, they're coming into something that is, has at least a little bit of a foundation. Let's take it from there. You know what I mean? Nikki B from Harlem said, too many sad, whiny fans. We won today. Let's go Knicks. Yeah, we won. We're going into a break. We're going into a break with a win. Jay from Washington Heights said Randle has a right to get frustrated. He's out there playing and catching elbows, not caught by the refs. So just relax, people. We've been in this spot before. I will say that. Randle is a guy that accepts and creates contact. He does get a lot of contact. You know what I mean? But Randle's got to listen. I get it. You're right. He gets a lot of contact. I think Randle has to understand that he's always going to get this kind of contact and learn to accept it. You know what I mean? Because too many times I think Randle gets so distracted by the referees, right? Again, your emotions run high, your brain function runs low. He gets so distracted by the referees that he can't get himself back into just focusing on the game. I don't know how many times I've seen Randle, get fouled on a shot and rightfully be upset, but then, gets back down on the other end and maybe someone gets fouled and he immediately runs to the ref and still talking about that play down there when that play nothing's gonna change. You know what I'm saying? And his mind is there. And maybe on that particular play, he didn't make a mistake because his mind was there. But there's a big possibility that he could make a mistake because his mind was on 2 plays ago. You know what I mean? And, those are some of the things that I really get frustrated with Randle about. I love him for the, kind of forget about the rest and just play his basketball game and just be focused on right here, right now. Because when you're playing a sport, that's all that matters. The game, the play that happened, the most important play is the next play. Right? That's something I teach my all of my players. I ask them every other practice, what's the most important play of the game? The answer is always the next play. For me, that's what I teach them, the next play. You can't worry about 3 plays ago. You can't worry about 5 plays ahead. You got to worry about this play right here, right now. The next play that's going to happen, and Randle gets so caught up in past plays. You know what I mean? So that does frustrate me sometimes. Nikki B. from Holland said, Julius is leading the team in points and rebounds and gets virtually no calls. He's the heart of this soft-ass team. Nobody's perfect. If he's so bad, the whole team stinks. Listen, I agree. Nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? And, Randle definitely is not perfect. He has some, he has lapses and things like that, but he's having a good season so far, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Irvin Vasquez said, you nailed it. The mental lapse is frustrating. It is frustrating. It does get frustrating. You know what I mean? It does get frustrating, but, every player is going to have it's going to be something about every player. Even when we get one of these multi-generational stars one day, whenever that might be, they're going to have something that irks you too. I can almost guarantee it. You know what I mean? They're going to have something that irks you. But a good game, a good win by the New York Knicks tonight over the OKC Thunder. They come back home 500, right? Ready to take on the Portland Trail Blazers on Friday. They get a chance to rest up. Rose can rest up. Cam Reddish, hopefully, his groin can feel better. RJ Barrett looked a lot better tonight. His legs looked like they were there. You see him get quick second jumps. You know what I mean? His three-point shot was falling. I will say this, though. Even if you're sick, when your shot is hitting, you're going to look like you got energy. You know what I mean? I want to see a repeat performance and then another repeat performance. You know what I mean? And see his legs continue to have that bounce. And it wasn't like he had crazy bounce, but, continue to be kind of spry. You know what I mean? So, when we come back from break against the Portland Trail Blazers, we need RJ to have that kind of energy, that bounce, that spryness in his legs. Julius Randle, from the reports, he's been a little bit sick as well. Hopefully this can be some time that he can recuperate. Seems like it's only been those 2 guys who had any kind of a sickness. Hopefully over this time, Mitchell Robinson will be able to get into the gym, get some exercise, not exercise, but get some endurance, some conditioning in. Quentin Grimes was able to get 2 games in. I'm glad his foot didn't act up again. You know what I mean? So he's able to get 2 games in where he played major minutes. Now he can rest his foot a little bit, let his foot get a little bit more rest, and then come back against the Portland Trail Blazers. He's going to be needed against the Portland Trail Blazers because they got a guy over there that can shoot the ball from the other side of the court. You know what I mean? So you're definitely going to need Quentin Grimes to be out there to play that defense. I'm really looking forward to, though, if Cam is back, I'm really looking forward to seeing a lineup with Cam Reddish and Quentin Grimes together and see what that looks like. I know earlier today in the game preview when me and Steph were talking, we were, discussing the possibility of, R.J. Barrett going to the bench. R.J. Barrett shut all of that up tonight by having the game that he had. Said, no, nobody's going to the bench. Oh, Trav B said Dame is out. He said, RJ said, nobody is going to the bench. You don't have to worry about that. You know what I mean? It came off and had a good game tonight. Trav B said Dame is out. I did forget about that. And they actually mentioned it in the telecast earlier that Dame is out. So, yeah, the Knicks won't have to worry about. But then you still got Anthony Simons you got to worry about. He's not Dame. He's not Dame. You know what I mean? But he's a good ball player, too. But, ladies and gentlemen, a good win tonight from the New York Knicks. All right? Way to finish up this road trip. I do want to mention to you one more time, and this would be my last time mentioning it. Right? If, yes, the public enemy number one, Simons is on a tear this season. He's definitely on a tear. If you are interested in attending this Westchester Knicks home opener game, there's a link pinned to the top of the chat. All right? A link pinned to the top of the chat. There's also a link in the description of this video. Fill out that information, and then we will randomly choose a winner. 2 tickets, ladies and gentlemen. All right? And there's also a question in there. If you are interested in being our correspondent to the Westchester Knicks, just click yes or no. And if the answer is yes, we will reach out and say, hey, this is what we're asking people to do. Basically, as a correspondent, we're asking you to attend the games when you can, to attend the home games, free of charge. You don't have to worry about paying for it. Free of charge, attend the home games, and then report to us, when we do the weekly show on what the players look like and, who to watch out for and all that kind of stuff, right? Because we're doing a weekly show on the Westchester Knicks. You know what I mean? So we're looking for someone who has the time and can make the commitment, to really cover the Westchester Knicks. All right. We have some good things getting ready to pop off with the Westchester Knicks. So, we're looking to get some more people involved. All right. So take some time, fill out that form, and, we'll get back to you. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you rock out. I'm going to head up out of here. Good win from the Knicks tonight. Be on the lookout. I'm going to do my 5 takeaways, but this one's going to be a little bit different. I'll do my 5 takeaways from the road trip, not just tonight's game. My 5 takeaways from the road trip. I probably won't be on tomorrow. You'll get that video tomorrow. But I won't be live tomorrow. I will be back on Wednesday, probably Wednesday night. Then I won't be on Thanksgiving. Then I'll be back on Friday. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. Again, if you want to go to the Westchester Knicks game, that link is in the chat. It's pinned to the top of your YouTube chat as well. The link is in the description. And I will see you later on. Unless something crazy pops off and I got to jump on, then I'll jump on. All right. But if I don't see you live between now and then, have a very, very happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy time with your family. All right. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm up out of here. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
This is NBK. Nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sob like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.